Here we are at the back of my MUX, and we're going to have a look at my 12 volt dual battery setup and also the fridge slide setup, and I'll explain a little bit more detail just exactly how all that works. Let me show you, stick around, we'll have a look in some detail. Got the air hose here, jumper leads, and the 12 volt direct battery. So you can see here it's a 50 amp hour slimline 12.8 lithium battery, deep cycle lithium battery, and it's from 12 volt direct. So there's all the specs there. If you want to freeze frame and have a look at that, you can. Of course, made in China. Now I can't recall the exact cost of this, but all up I think it was somewhere just a little over $500. What we have here is also a 12 volt DC charger. Now this plugs into a 12 volt socket right here. So simply put, 12 volt socket, you got your cigarette lighter attachment there which goes in, and it plugs directly into there just like that. Nice and simple. But your question is, well, hang on, that socket wasn't there originally. It's not from factory. I've installed this 12 volt socket here and deliberately put it down here so it was underneath that storage compartment. And all I've done is piggyback off this 12 volt socket right here. So this is your factory MUX socket in the back, and the cabling is accessed from behind this panel in here. So I've gone up inside there, gone up and got into that panel, got to the access to the wires to here. I've piggybacked into those wires, run a cable down to inside there. Here's the Isuzu toolkit. Run those cables down inside underneath and into this panel in under here. Fairly easy to get to. You undo these bolts there and there, lift all that plastic panel out, and you can feed the wiring through and install this socket right here. So along with the 12 volt battery, first of all we'll talk about the attachments. It has these built-in Anderson plug sockets and your typical 12 volt sockets there that you can plug into, and indeed also has USB sockets up the top. Great battery, really good. You turn that on and off here, so you can see we've got power there. We've got 13.6 volts currently, it's fully charged. We have the 12 volt DC charger, so that's plugged into my car socket, the 12 volt socket for the car, plugged in right there as you see, and it comes with a lead at the other end. So with this you can very simply now plug straight into the battery, and what we're doing now is charging. So we've got power supply from the car through the socket here into the 12 volt DC charger, and this charger then charges into the battery. So this battery now, with the car ignition turned on, that battery is being charged. You can then plug your fridge 12 volt socket into that. So on your fridge you would probably have a socket like this one, and you would simply plug it into that, and away you go, run your fridge. Now if you've got a 12 volt Anderson socket on your fridge, then perhaps you can plug your fridge directly into the battery. Once your battery is charged, you don't have to keep it on charge on this system. You can unplug your charger, plug your fridge directly into the battery, and as I do with these slimline batteries, they fit really well in here. They sit underneath the factory cover. There we go, and you'd never know that battery and charger is there underneath. And that battery, that 50 amp hour lithium battery, this one here will run a 40 litre angle fridge that I use, and I've run it for 2 days. In fact, 2.5 days. I checked the battery and I still had plenty of power left, and I only use the battery when we're parked overnight, for example at a motel or perhaps camping. So typically at a motel overnight, I leave the fridge in the car with all the food and ice items in there, and the fridge is run overnight simply from that battery. And away you go the next day, once again as you're driving, courtesy of the 12 volt DC charger, charges the battery whilst you're driving along. Okay, with this setup, what I've done, I've got rubber feet. Let's lift that up. Underneath here, you may see some rubber feet, and that just gives me the height and clearance I need. So that means you can still lift this out. And you have access to everything you need under here. Now this turnbuckle attaches to a little bracket there, and that holds this down, so this cannot lift. Once you attach that turnbuckle and adjust it, that's locked down, and the other end I use a strap. So here is where the fridge slides out. So this is showing you now the fridge slide with everything exposed under here. But normally you would have this panel in and you wouldn't see any of that. Now I've also got these stoppers here which hold the fridge in place. There's another one up the end there, and that stops the fridge moving around. And I also use this clip here, bought from Bunnings, and that clip with a strap around the handle on the fridge holds the fridge in place. Talking about this is half of a 4 cage. So this is from King's 4-wheel drive, and this is normally a full cage that goes right up, and there's a lid that goes on top and down the other side. So both sides and the rear, all 3 sides, I've actually cut in half. So I got a jigsaw and I cut through, reduced the height of those by half. Don't need a lid on it. I have plenty of room to store all the gear I need up the side there. There's only 2 of us travelling, and the strap goes on the front up there, and that strap goes around the top of that metal edge, and it goes down to the anchor point that the car seats are attached to, just down in there. Once you strap that end down and use the turnbuckle on this clip just under here, then this whole fridge slide's not going anywhere. Now you're also going to ask, how does that turnbuckle go through where this board goes? That's easy. What I've done is I've cut this slot in this tab here. It's normally full tab like that, full size tab, and I simply ground a slot in there. It's like a fiberglass plastic. It's pretty good, tough material, easy to work with. You don't have to cut or re-glue or anything. That'll just cut straight through. Used an angle grinder disc and it just sort of sealed it as I cut it, and then this hook attachment goes straight through that slot and fits up underneath there. Because I've cut this steel sheet, that leaves a sharp exposed edge, and what you need to use is this material here. It's from Clark Rubber and it's called pinch weld. It comes in different sizes. This one I think is probably around about the 6 to 8 mil. I'm not exactly sure from memory, but I used a smaller size pinch weld here and just warmed it up a little bit and bent it around, tapped it down, tapped it on, and it leaves you a really good solid edge. Now you might ask, well, that's cut, there's no lid. Yes, that's flexible, but I tell you what, there's actually a fair bit of strength in that. I've added extra screws by screwing this down on the outside, down through here, and added all these extra screws, and it's quite solid. It holds this really well. There's not much load on the side of my fridge when I've got gear packed in the back of the car there. Comments on the video itself, was it thousands? Might have been hundreds. Oh, it was 2 or 3 anyway, at least. There's a few comments there, but anyway, so we've done the video, and hopefully that's going to help you understand exactly how I've done the budget dual battery system and fridge slide. Thanks for watching.